Hello, America. This is Mr. Citizen Patriot. I finally have made it here to Washington, D.C. I've been around for 17 years, born in Los Angeles in 2003. My role is to bring patriotism to a higher level in our country. My role is to wear this uniform for the sake of the men and women who wore their uniforms to be shot at, that I may be free. I didn't go to be shot at, but the least that I can do for those men and women who gave their lives for me is to wear this uniform to remind the world who they are and what they've done. And I've come also to raise the spirit of patriotism in our country, to come together, whether you're on the political right or left, it doesn't matter right now. We as a nation must come together, and what better person to help bring the nation together than a person like Mr. Citizen Patriot. And for more information on Mr. Patriot and how to get in touch with me and participate in this new awakening of American patriotism, go to mrpatriot.us. Get involved with this new American patriotism that we're bringing to you today.
Hey, everybody. Shalom. This is Ted, a.k.a. Mr. Citizen Patriot. Today, we're welcoming you to another heartwarming, heartfelt episode of Your Power Weapon. Now, let me put a clause in here, disclosure. When we say weapon, we're not talking about physical weapons, boom, boom, guns, knife, bat, beat 'em up stuff. We're talking about the weapon of your mind, how you think. You see, it all begins here and manifests out there in the world. So welcome to Your Power Weapon on urbansmartnetwork.com. This is, I guess, the 24th episode. This is February the 7th, 2022. Oh, hey, this is Black History Month, isn't it? Black History Month. I'm really struggling with that term, Black History Month. But nevertheless, everybody's thinking about Black people right now. I think they're thinking about Black people right now. All lives matter. Black lives matter. Oh, speaking of that, Black Lives Matter business and Black History Month, education-wise, enlightenment. Tonight's episode is our second part 2 on this incredible patriotic grassroots people's movement that's being termed the school choice movement. And we have some folks on tonight. Of course, we got our regular contributors, which I'm gonna show them to you in a minute so you can see their lovely faces. But we have a very special guest on tonight. I mean, all these people that are going to be on tonight are advocates and activists, leaders, spokespersons in the school choice movement. But we have with us tonight, which raises the stock of Your Power Weapon, is Douglas Hauser and his wife, Janice. They are the ones who are basically the spokespersons, the leaders, the founders of this incredible movement called School Choice in California. And we're going to come back and talk with them in a minute. But I want you to go tell your friends. If you don't catch it tonight, catch us later. You can go to Urban Smart Network and go to programs, scroll down to Your Power Weapon, and you see all the 20 episodes of Your Power Weapon and get an understanding of who we are. Like us on Facebook, Instagram, whatever social media you got, and tell your children, tell everybody to check out Ted on Your Power Weapon at urbansmartnetwork.com. Let me first of all identify myself one more time, because we're going to have a very electric conversation tonight. But let me identify myself real quick. I am not a Black man. I am not an African American. I'm first and foremost a child of God. I'm a human being. In the United States of America, I am an American African descent. I am, in the Constitution, a United States citizen who happens to be Black or American African with a federal superpower citizenship, super citizenship status. It comes from the Civil Rights Act of 1866, the first Civil Rights Act of the United States, which gave birth to the 14th Amendment, which is the citizenship of the descendants of the chattel slaves and freemen. We happen to look this way. But I want you all to know something, that this incredible, powerful law, the 1866 Civil Rights Act, was not granted to us, descendants of the Choctaw slaves or the free Choctaw slaves, because of our skin color, because of our race, or our physical anatomy. No, it was granted to us because of the way in which our ancestors was brought into this nation of immigrants in chains, shackled against their will. And we've never recovered from that. Subsequently, you are seeing generational devastations manifesting in what we're going to be talking about here tonight. But a law was granted to us by the Republicans in 1866 that was designed with such power that the president who took over for the assassinated Lincoln, Andrew Johnson, who eventually got vetoed for this, got impeached for this. He, when the bill hit his desk, he read it carefully, and whether you're white or black citizen, whatever you are out there, if you're listening, please go and read the 1866 Civil Rights Act and learn why this Democrat president would not sign the bill. He said, I'm going to veto it. And he asked, why? He said, because this law, if you read it carefully, gives more power to the freed slaves, the new black citizens, over the white citizens. Those are not my words. Those are his. Go check it out. So that's who I am. I'm a United States federal super citizen under this law. This is Ted Hayes, Mr. Patriot, on urbansmartnetwork.com. Hey, Keith, Keith, Ken, Miss Anita, I want to start with Miss Anita. Will you come on, just say a minute, Miss Anita, and so people can see your lovely face.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me again, Ted. I'm excited to continue our conversation about school choice. I think it is the civil rights issue of our day. Black people, we need to be able to choose where we go to school. No one should be relegating us to poorly performing schools anywhere in these great United States.
You're right, my sister. Nor should they relegate that we take an experimental drug either, called a vaccine. Yeah, I like the bias. Okay, let's go to Unicorn. Hey, Ken, what's up, man?
What's happening, everybody? Thank you for having me on, Ted. When it comes to CaliforniaSchoolChoice.org, I believe in it heavily. As everybody who knows me knows, I don't normally lend myself to these initiatives, but this one is very important. I do believe that if Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X were alive today, they will be standing squarely behind this, because freedom of choice is the most freedom you can ever have.
Hey, Unicorn, where your horn,
Yes,
man? Where's your horn?
Right here, right
there
here.
It is. My man. Right, my man. Okay. Who else is here tonight? Did I miss anybody other than Keith? Is that it? Keith, sir, my co-host, Keith. Say hello to the people, but I want you to read to them what you shared with me yesterday about our boy Abraham Lincoln. Go ahead, sir.
Well, okay, but in order to do this, Ted, I'm sorry, I have to, because I'm on my phone, I'm going to have to disappear for a minute so I can read it off of my phone. I'm sorry.
We can't see your lovely face no more.
Well, I read it. You know, you guys, this is from Abraham Lincoln in a speech in 1858. And he said, the American founders knew the tendency of prosperity to breed tyrants. And so they established these great self-evident truths that when in the distant future, some man, some faction, some interest should set up a doctrine that none but rich men or none but white men were entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, their posterity might look up again to the Declaration of Independence and take courage to renew the battle which their fathers began. So that truth and justice and mercy and all humane and Christian virtues might not be extinguished from the land. I think that's appropriate for today.
My brother, that sounds like Stokely Carmichael from the Black Panthers. Because that's pretty much what they was talking about as well, ladies and gentlemen, even though they drifted to socialism and Marxism because the young men didn't know what they was doing because they didn't know really the power of the Constitution. But isn't that true? It seemed like the more power that these people got, whether in big pharma or whether they're into big tech, big government, they become tyrants. It's really a truism. And that is what has happened, I believe, to our public school systems. That when you have a school system as big as LA Unified School District or as big as the New York School District, there is bound to be intoxication of power with the superintendent, with the board. And parents don't matter. Students don't matter, do they? Because as Keith appropriately said from Lincoln, prosperity breeds tyranny. That is, if the people who are in posterity are not founded on some basic truthful foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, again, you are listening to Ted Hayes, aka Mr. Patriot, your power weapon on urbansmartnetwork.com. Now for the fireworks, for the moment that we've all been waiting for. Folks, Miss Anita, my apologies. There you are. My bad. Go ahead, Miss Anita. Welcome to the show. Speak to us for a minute, sister.
Do you have your glasses on? This is actually Miss Ashley, not Miss Anita.
I'm sorry, Miss Ashley.
Do we all look the same to you?
Podcast. We all look alike, right? I'm sorry, but go ahead. Please pardon me, ma'am.
This is Miss Ashley, and I'm with the California School Choice Advisor. And just like to say this, when we first came here, even as slaves, we realized centuries ago that education was going to be this key to our success in this new world. We not only survived, but we thrived. We became the mathematicians, the scientists, and the inventors in this new world. Okay, mostly everything you enjoy, inventions you have now today, is because a Black man or Black woman invented it for you. We got to get back to that basic educational standard we once had. And with that, more than anything, we have to rebuild this family structure where we had also a connection to God that made our community strong. So I'm here with School Choice. This is not the end, but it's just beginning to start this process again for what we need to do in order to get our kids educated and our families back together.
Thank you so much, Miss Ashley. We appreciate your statements and appreciate you being here. All of you, I deeply appreciate it. Without you, the broadcast could not be. I want to pivot now over to our special guest tonight, Doug Hauser. As I said before, with his wife Janice, are pretty much the founders and the leaders of the school choice movement. And I want to bring Mr. Hauser on right now. Mr. Hauser, please come on and just give us a quick statement. And then I have some questions I need to ask you, sir, for my audience. School choice movement. And I want to bring Mr. Hauser on right now. Mr. Hauser, please come on and just give us a quick statement. And then I want to ask some questions I need to ask you.
Can you hear me? I'm having difficulty hearing you guys. Can you hear me?
I hear you. I hear you.
Okay, I cannot hear you, but you can hear me. Hi, I'm the statewide outreach coordinator, and I've been involved in this project from the very beginning. And I believe that we have crafted the best school choice program. Can you hear me? I can hear you now, but you're sort of on delay. I've got you on the streaming. I don't have you live coming over my phone.
I noticed
so there's
that
a little
too.
bit of a delay, but I'll try to just plunge on here. This plan. When we pass this, we are collecting signatures now to get this on the ballot in November. And when this passes, it will be a California constitutional amendment. This will, let me explain how it works briefly. It's very quickly. It is a purely optional program. Any parent who wishes to can create what we call an education savings account for their child in their child's name. And while they can put their own money into it, they don't have to. They will be entitled to their child's share of Proposition 98 funds for K through 12 education to be put in there. So there is no tax increase. It is the same money the government is currently collecting through the lottery and other means and distributing to the government-run schools. But under our proposal, any parent will be able to claim their child's share. Next year, that share will be $14,000 per pupil per year. The parent has a property right to that money, so the government cannot seize it for infrastructure or pensions or any other reason. However, they cannot spend it on anything they want. They can't buy a car. They cannot pay the mortgage. They can only use it for their child's education, to send their child specifically to an accredited private or parochial church school, or if they file the paperwork, to become a homeschooler. So our data shows that more than or close to 70% of the private schools in California charge less than $14,000. So that means that the poorest person in California will now be able to send her child to a private school if she chooses to do so. And we added one wrinkle that I don't think any other state has, and that this is not a voucher, this is a savings account. So whatever money the parent saves, either by being a homeschooler who tend to spend very little, or by sending them to a church school or a private school that costs less than that amount, the extra unspent dollars remain in the savings account. They accumulate over the kid's whole career from K through 12. And when the child gets out of high school, that money is available for college or for any accredited vocational or trade school. And that those benefits stay available to them until they are 30 years old. So a child who gets out of high school and joins the military or gets a job or tries to start a business or even just kicks around for a few years not knowing what they want to do, and then 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 years down the line, they want to go back to school or even just go to college and take some classes, the money that is in their account is still available for them to do so. That's the basis of the idea. It's very simple. It's very elegant. It's taking the money that is already being collected by the government and allowing the parents to control their share. And of course, the initiative is full of protections for the private schools and for the homeschoolers, in the sense that the state, nor any of its agencies, nor even the board that administers this, can dictate curriculum. The state cannot dictate hiring and firing policies, cannot dictate admissions policies, or excessive auditing requirements or excessive testing requirements. Basically, if the school is accredited, then the parents become the controlling authority. The parents decide what is best for their child. The parents' contract with the school is only for 1 year at a time. So if that school wants repeat business out of that parent, they better make the parent happy. If you don't like what's happening to your kid in first grade, you can send them to a different school in second grade. There may be schools that say, we will be very disciplined and every child will learn X, Y, Z in order. There may be other schools that say, we are freewheeling. We encourage reading and math exploration. There may be schools that specialize in science, schools that specialize in art, schools that specialize in entrepreneurship, schools that specialize in special needs kids. These will all be choices available to parents. And I trust the parents much more than I trust, as you were just saying, these gigantic organizations, the teachers union, Sacramento, the school boards, who get drunk with power and think they know better than the parents. And we know, in fact, nobody knows the kids like the parents. Nobody has the kids' best interests at heart like the parents. Under our proposal, you will have so much innovation. You could have a parent with 3 children sending their children to 3 different schools. One could go to a science academy, one could go to an art school, and one could go to a special needs if that's what they have. You could have 10 parents get together and say, we have 20 kids among us. That's $280,000. Let's hire one teacher to shepherd our kids all the way K through 12, the old one-room schoolhouse brought back. You'll have pods of learning for homeschoolers. You'll have micro schools. You'll have so much innovation and creativity, and parents will find out what is best for their kids. If nothing pleases them, like I say, they could hire 3 or 4 or 5 teachers and start their own school. And so I believe that this will be copied across the nation once this is instituted. It will revolutionize education. And of course, the biggest benefit will be for poor people, because rich people already have their kids in private schools. Newsom and Bill Clinton and Al Gore and all these top politicians and Nancy Pelosi, their kids and their grandkids already go to private schools. So I say, let's give poor people and middle-class people that same option. They're the ones paying the bulk of the taxes. So let them claim their own tax money and get the best for their kids. And let's remember, education is the issue that solves all other issues, whether you're interested in homelessness and poverty, or crime, or energy and the environment, or jobs, or whatever the issue is. A well-educated population, a truly well-educated population, will minimize all those problems to begin with, and then you'll have a bunch of really well-educated, smart people running around trying to solve the remainder of that problem. So this is absolutely crucial to the future of our nation, and I believe that this plan is by far and away the best way to do it.
Man, you said so much there.
And I'm open for any questions you might have.
Hey, get your game face on. hey, Smoke, you were trying to tell me he needs to do what? Speak more to the camera? What's the technical issue here? Sir, when you speak, try to speak at the camera and turn your phone up, the engineer said. Make sure your phone is turned up. Can you hear me? Brother, can you hear me, sir? He needs to do what? Speak more to the camera? What's the technical issue here?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Try to speak at the camera and turn your phone up.
My phone is up all the way. When you had your when you had your introduction little video, I could hear that, and then as soon as it went live, I couldn't hear it. Yes, now I can.
Yeah, the volume is all the way
Okay,
up.
My phone is up all the way. When you had your your introduction little video, I could hear that, and then as soon as it went live, I couldn't hear it. Yes, now I can.
Hey, folks, technical stuff, right? It happens. The age of modernity. Well, ladies and gentlemen, while they're doing that, this is Ted, aka Mr. Patriot. You are listening to Your Power Weapon on UrbanSmartNetwork.com. Our special guest tonight is Doug Hauser, one of the primary leaders and spokespersons of the California school choice movement. And he said a whole lot of things that we want to ask him about, but we're having some technical difficulty right now. Mr. Engineer, how are we looking? Hey, while we are waiting for that, folks, I want to give a quick salute, shout out to all the patriots here and across the country, in California, across the country, who have been marching against these mandates, and particularly the mask mandates. You see what they're doing. You see Stacey Abrams in that picture of her, a Democrat lady running for governor, apparently again. She was at a school sitting in front of the children, all these children, 30, 40 of them at least, in the background. Every single one of them had masks on. She's sitting out in front, did not have a mask on, with a great big old grin on her face. They take away the grins of our children, and she grins. They take away the breath of our children, and she breathes. This is supposed to be a land where we can breathe free, and there she is. And what gets me, she's a black woman, okay? She's a descendant of Choctaw slaves, and she should know better. Of all people who should not be terrorizing other people, is black folks. We have no business doing anything like that. It's very, very shameful and disgusting. So I want to give a shout out to all you patriots out there, all you American citizens on the political right, left, conservative, liberal, young, old, black, white, brown, red, yellow, all of y'all, Muslim, Christian, Jew, Buddhist, atheist, all of y'all, for standing up and marching and demonstrating and making the government comply. Because next February the 15th, next week, February the 15th, the governor of California is dropping the mask mandates. Duh. Why? Because the CDC finally admitted to what Dr. Fauci said in the beginning of the COVID: mask do you no good. But when they realize, hey, man, there's a financial benefit here. Hey, man, there is a mind snatching benefit here. Let's see if the American people are really free thinkers. Let's tell them y'all gonna die if y'all don't wear these masks. And boy, there we go for it. Are you back?
I'm here now.
Ah, there he is.
I'm back. I'm back.
Okay, folks, we
Now
are
I'm
back.
live. I can hear you.
Yay. Thank you. We are back
We had to
with
get
Doug
off and
Hauser.
back on again.
Yes, sir. Welcome back, Doug Hauser, from one of the leading
Thank
voices
you.
here in California for the school choice movement and initiative. Mr. Hauser, explain the ballot. Is this a ballot initiative measure? What's the difference, and when is the election? How many numbers do you have to have to make this an official ballot or initiative? Measure
We're
or
going to need to collect. Yeah, we're collecting signatures now. We need to collect about a little less than 1 million verified signatures. So we're shooting to get about 1.5 million. So we'll, have a little cushion there.
Yes, sir.
We are part way there. We're between a third and a halfway there.
Okay.
And we still have a couple of months. Because the state is officially in a state of emergency and partial shutdown, there are lawyers that are looking at getting us an extension on our time period. But what we'd like everybody to do is, if you can go to our website, californiaschoolchoice.org, you can download the petition itself. It's multiple pages because the entire initiative is on the petition, is on one petition. You have to staple it together, the pages in order, and then the back couple of pages are signatures. If you can, if your listeners could all go out and collect 3, 4, 5 signatures and send them into the address at the bottom, that would really, really help. So we need to spread the word. We find that when we explain this plan to people, it has better than 95% approval. So our main goal is to get the word out there. It doesn't matter whether you are Republican, Democrat, or no politics. It doesn't matter white, black, Asian, Hispanic, whatever. It doesn't matter whether you're rich, poor. Virtually everybody hears this idea. And the number one response I get is, why didn't they do that 20 years ago? This would have really helped me when I had kids. And I say, but you're going to have grandkids, so this is really important. And when this passes, it will be a California constitutional amendment. So that will shield it from too much interference by the government.
Two things. One, can illegal aliens sign the petition?
No, you have to be a registered voter to sign the petition. And I encourage, but you don't have to be a registered voter to collect signatures. You can be anybody above the age of 18 to collect signatures. And I recommend anybody who is not registered to vote, please register to vote. I don't care if you're of my political persuasion or not. I hope you don't even know what my political persuasion is. We need to tell politicians what they're supposed to do. Having dealt with, I'm a scientist by profession, not a political person. And the last couple of years working with this, I've come into contact with politicians, and my experience is they're not necessarily the smartest people you would ever hope to meet. And so they need to be told what to do. And the way we tell them what to do is by voting. So everybody should register to vote and vote.
Yes, sir. The preamble of the U.S. Constitution, the first words in the Constitution is not they, the politicians, but who? We, the people, in order to form a more perfect union. We, the people. Mr. Hauser, this ballot initiative, how many signatures do you have so far, do you think?
That's not quite clear. They're being collected statewide. So
100,000,
we have county chairs in many counties.
100,000, 500,000, 600,000?
I think we're probably between 350,000 and 500,000.
Will you be able to make it for the midterm elections in November? You think?
We're trying. That's our goal, is to get this on the ballot this November. There was, until recently, there was a rival initiative that was very similar to ours. And that caused some confusion and some conflict. People didn't know which one to support. There were political loyalties, one side or the other. They withdrew about 3 weeks ago. And essentially, they endorsed our initiative. And since that point, about 3 weeks ago, our volunteerism and our collection have both increased. So the total number may be a little bit deceptive because the pace has increased.
Okay, well, let me turn the heat up a little bit here. A few weeks ago, I signed your initiative, an event in San Diego on anti-mandate vaccines, experimental vaccines.
And I was the one who got
And
your signature.
I signed the signature. Yeah, I did. And I'm gonna still let it on because, but as I thought about this more, because most of the people who are in this movement, I philosophically agree with most of what the people in this movement believe in: family, flag, America, patriotism. I'm there. Okay, anti-socialist, anti-communist. I'm there. And so naturally, I'm in the group think. So when it was put to me, sign the petition for school choice, I thought, yeah, great idea. Now sign, and I'll let it stay, because I still would support to a degree. But I am frankly, I'm against school choice. The reason why I'm against it is because to me it's running. It's running away from what really ails America. It reminds me of the Great White Flight, and it also puzzles me that there's three black folks, three U.S. black citizens on this line tonight, and I want them to speak up here in a minute. We had a conversation about this last week, but now all of a sudden I'm hearing people say, non-black citizens say, this hurts black people and poor people more than anything else. And yeah, well, that's always been. When white folks get a sneeze, we get a cold. When they get a cold, we get pneumonia. When they get pneumonia, we die. That's just the nature of what America has always been. And I have to ask the question, we've always, in the black community, always had bad schools. How come there was no concern from other people about that? And then we have the Great White Flight, which started 1950s, 1960s, where conservative people, Republicans, left the urban center to go to suburbia to get away from the drag of black and poor people. And now all of a sudden, and left us to the liberals, to the Democrats, to the socialist agenda, left us undefended, and thinking by them running to the suburbs that they would escape socialism. Well, now you got socialism in your suburban schools. See, it caught up to you. And what's going to happen, I predict, ladies and gentlemen, what I predict, if we don't get back to what really is the cause of why we have to find these other private schools and avenues, apart from people who are rich at doing it, leave them alone. I'm talking about us. Mark my words. If you leave the socialists and the public schools to do what they want to do, mark my words, them little socialist children that they're training right now, if they don't get you at your school, you won't be able to send your kids to school because there'll be so many anti-American socialist agents in the streets, you will lose everything you got. So I want to know, when you say school choice, great, but aren't you leaving all these other poor kids to the mercy of the socialists?
Well, I would hope not, since this option is available to every single parent. I can imagine the first year or two, people have a natural inertia to not want to change what they're doing, even if it is resulting in failure. That's why Einstein made his famous comment that, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. But as this program takes hold in the second year, in the third year, in the fourth year, people are going to talk to each other. Parents are going to talk to their own siblings about their nieces and nephews and say, it's time to get your kid out of there and bring him to the school my kid is going to. And this will spread. And let me also add that there have been many, many studies of the effects of school choice programs on the government-run schools. I use the term government-run schools, not public schools, because we've seen over the last 2 years, especially, how the public has very little input and control in what's going on in the government-run schools. 33 academic studies have examined this question. 31 of them found that the government-run schools get better results when they are forced into competition for the students and for the dollars. And one of them found a neutral effect. So it is overwhelming that when the parents start taking their kids and taking their money out of those schools, the superintendents and the school boards look at each other and go, uh-oh, what are we going to do now? If we want those kids back here, we better start teaching math and reading and history and science and literature, the things parents want their kids to know. And that's the only way they're going to get the kids back. Otherwise, they're going to be left with no kids. There will be more and more private schools springing up and saying, send your kid here. We can educate your kid for $10,000 or $11,000 a year, and you'll have a college fund for your kids as well. This is your kid's future, and parents will do it. Have you ever seen the documentary Waiting for Superman? It's about a 10-year-old documentary. It's about the problems in the public schools. It's very good in describing the problems in the public schools. It's a little short on solutions, but the last scene in it is basically the lotteries to get for these kids, for kids to get into the 1 or 2 good schools in the district. They have a lottery. And all I can tell you is hundreds and hundreds of parents show up for this lottery when they're looking at 10 or 15 or 20 open slots. So these inner city parents, this is Baltimore, this is Washington, D.C., this is L.A., they followed a whole bunch of parents, and they followed a whole bunch of one kid in each city. And there were, I'm telling you, hundreds of parents. They all know that education is the key for their kids.
And that's well and good. But now,
the majority, what would happen if those parents all actually had the option to send their kids to a private school?
What if? If is a very big word. When the white flight started, it was meant to do better, but it did worse. It has done worse and has left us to the monsters of the socialist movement. Why? What are you going to do about the 90% that cannot get out? What are you going to do about those people?
I see everybody will be able to get out within a very. If our plan is passed,
I see this movement. What Einstein said. You're repeating the same thing, and it's a movement of insanity because you are running from the monster that's taken over our public schools. This is our fault. We have not done our job. When y'all left, when white folks and powerful people, intelligent people, educated people left the urban centers. You've got to bear some responsibility for this because you guys keep knocking on the Democrats and the socialists. Well, conservatives, you guys have a big role in this as well. I want to bring on a couple other guests here. Keith, Ken, Miss Anita, Miss Ashley, anybody want to speak up to this at this point?
I would like to say something real quick. In response to what he's saying, I'm hoping Smoke can just go ahead and play my clip. That's all I want to contribute. Smoke, can you please play that clip that I offered?
Another reason to support it says California school choice.
There's no sound. There's no sound. There's no sound to it. What you're about to see, ladies and gentlemen, is a young black mom that I met because when I try to promote something, I do it with all my heart. CaliforniaSchoolChoice.org is something that is essential to the black community. This young lady was someone that I approached, and I explained to her briefly what the CaliforniaSchoolChoice.org program is, and she was absolutely flabbergasted. So to promote what my colleague just said earlier, once people know this program exists, once they see a path of freedom away from this situation, they're coming, Ted. This is not like days of old. We're a much more enlightened, much more motivated group of people. We just need a way out. That video would be all I'd like to contribute.
Oh, okay. It's my.
By the way, Ken, while we're on you, will you tell my viewers and everyone here the conversation you had with the little girl at the demonstration about tyranny?
Saturday I was at the Bass Pro or Pro Bass, and I figured the most illustrative way to show parents the dire emergency to get our children away from this public school system was I asked the parents if it was okay because she was about 10 years of age. And so I approached the young lady and I said, young lady, if I were to ask you right now, who is your boss? Is your teacher your boss or is your mother your boss? Did you know that your mother is the boss of your teacher? That little girl, as all children do, not knowing the proper answer, looked at her mom, looked at me, and then she said, I didn't know my mama was my teacher's boss. I thought my teacher was the boss.
Well, there you go. I want to say, Keith, prosperity brings tyranny. Miss Ashley, you want to step in at this point?
Yes, I can. Just a news flash to you, Mr. Ted.
Yes, ma'am.
The white flight has already taken place.
I believe, right now, and it's continuing with this.
Yeah, right now in the California school system, you got approximately 6 million kids. Out of that 6 million kids, there's only 300,000 Black kids left. That's 5%. That's all we have left. That flight has already taken place. Now, you know I'm a stats person. So this is the thing I have to say, and I want to hear your solutions. You can't have 80 to 90% of Black boys that don't meet the state reading, writing, English, and math standards. Okay? 48% of Black boys don't even graduate high school. Most of these Black kids and boys that are not graduating, these are the ones going to end up in welfare, homeless, in jail, or robbing you, or in the graveyard. Okay? Out of 50 states, California ranks about 47. Now, I've always said this: if what they were doing was working, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We were very educated people at one time, and because we had strong families and with the education principle we had, those things worked together, plus our relationship with God, to build strong communities. So people that say they don't want to do this or don't want school choice to work, whatever, I still haven't heard your solution. And I just have this, I want to say this. If you're in a neighborhood and it's bounded by a Main Street, and you're south of Main Street, and they tell you south of Main Street, anybody lives there, you can only go to this one restaurant, okay? Doesn't have what I want. All it serves is hamburgers and fries, okay? But across the street, north of Main Street, I see all 10s and 20 other restaurants with all kind of different food that I can participate in. But because I'm south of Main Street, I can't participate in any of those other restaurants. Same thing for school choice. All this other is giving families a choice. The people that want to stay where they are, stay where you are. Nobody's forced you to go anywhere. But the people that want to get out of these non-performing schools in their school district or the zip code can do so. And I'm still got the same question for you. With the stats I just gave you, if what they were doing working, we wouldn't be having this conversation. What are your solutions to where we are right now?
I agree with you with everything you just said. I agree with you. My answer is, number one, y'all don't know your past. You don't know your roots as to how we got here. You understood how we got here. You stopped blaming the Democrats and the socialists so much and realized that there's a responsibility on the other side of the aisle as well. I propose, instead of spending all this money on a ballot initiative to make private schools or whatever, I think you should spend your time, money, and energy on breaking up school districts the size of LA Unified School District in New York and so forth. Because it goes back to the original conversation. Prosperity breeds tyranny. And that's what's going on. If the school district were broken up, gerrymandered to neighborhood areas where parents can supervise, the superintendent, the board, and the teachers will have a much better quality education. Plus, we will not be abandoning our school system to the socialists. Because what you're doing right now is you're abandoning the school system to the socialists, because 90% of the people in the Black community are not going to be able to do what y'all expect them to do. Hold on. Why do you think we Black citizens lead this nation in every negative social statistic, from homelessness to murder, all of it, disease, abortion? Why is that? Y'all don't know your roots, and you're running after something that is typically born in the white community to save them. Now they want to use you, as the liberals use you, as a moral reason to do what they want to do, but not really with your interest. Because if they had your interest in mind, they would have been on this issue long ago when our school students were suffering bad education. Now all of a sudden, they're concerned. Why are they concerned? They're concerned because their children are being affected.
Not true.
Miss Anita, take your time, and then I will respond after you. But go ahead and do what you need to do.
Okay, Ted, the very thing that you are saying about the liberals and all of that, you are protecting their interests. Everybody knows that the public schools are corrupted. They're run by corrupt unions, power hungry.
Yeah, we know that. We all know that.
Wait a minute, Ted. I'm going to ask you as the host to let me speak, okay, without interrupting me, and I'll be quick, okay? You're protecting their interest. Now, number two, last week you said we should have our own schools. I heard you now just expand on that idea. I like that idea. There's nothing wrong with having historically Black colleges, which already exist, and with school choice and the exodus of Black parents bringing their children out. We have the capacity if they would want to collaborate and have historically Black middle schools, grade schools, neighborhood schools. School choice will afford parents and teachers that possibility, number two. And if you're saying keep our children in these failing schools that are corrupted, where we have no more power until somebody else, the conservatives, or somebody else does this for us, I say what Miss Ashley said earlier. We are capable, competent people, scientists, doctors, all of those things we've done. We are not the property or the responsibility of any political party. I'm an adult. I can take care of myself. My child is raised to take care of herself. All of our children, we are not perpetual teenagers or a group of people that needs the government to take care of us. That is something wrong with any person's thinking. If they think that's who Black people are, we need some kind of deliverance. The only deliverer we need is Jesus Christ. Now, with respect to pulling our kids out, it's not the white flight and they're leaving us there. Again, you're speaking to an idea where we're helpless. No, we are diluting the power of our oppressors. We are exercising our liberty and our choice. With respect to the white flight that took place, those white people did what was best for their children and their families. So,
that's it. You said it.
Wait. Nothing wrong with that, brother. Nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
It's free.
Okay.
We can do what's best for them, and we can do what's best for us. We don't see. Here's the principle. You can help someone without harming the other guy. What's being put forth in our culture today, in our society today, is that in order to help Black people, we got to hurt somebody else. That's not true. That's a lie from the pit of hell. We can help ourselves. We can give hands up without harming someone else. So we need a paradigm shift in our thinking. We need
I agree.
Almost finished. We need to think logically. Okay. Again, I want to say we're not running away from the monster. We are confronting the monster, taking down the monster.
Okay. All right. I appreciate that. And listen, folks, somebody out there, please start an initiative to break up the school districts and make them more fitting to local neighborhoods. Somebody, please come up with that. Okay.
Can I say that has been tried? That has been tried. For example, the San Fernando Valley tried to break away from the LAUSD, which would have it was fought tooth and nail by the teachers union and the same powers that we're fighting now. And I don't know if you know this, Ted, if you go to Sacramento, the number one power broker in Sacramento is the teachers union. They boss them around and get what they want. So that's who we're fighting. It's the same group that will prevent the breaking up of this organization.
Have you ever seen the
movie? Hold on,
please,
Miss Ashley, will you come up, Miss Ashley?
Okay.
Sure.
Yes, I will. So what you were saying, first of all, don't insult me by telling us we don't know history. That's an insult. Hold on 1 second.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I grew up in the segregated South in the 60s under Jim Crow.
Me too.
So you talk to a person actually not even read history book that lived it. Okay.
I
know what that means, what you've been to.
Me too.
So I know, but I was very well educated with all the racism stuff we had to deal with because our parents would not accept anything different. There was no safe spaces you could allow to go to. And also you had to get up every day, go to work or to school. And Black people back then with strong family, they didn't take any excuses. You had no excuse for being educated. And we're the most educated people here in the United States. For
I disagree.
Years, we created almost everything was here. We want to get back to that by rebuilding families. Now, I believe in parochial schools. So I know God has to be involved with this, where the family and God works together like we once had to create these strong communities. Now, just some simple facts here. If you get that $14,000 a year, okay, and say $6,000, the parents were spending to send their child to parochial or private school, that money now goes into their pocket. That is an immediate saving to them. $6,000 by 13 years is $78,000, almost $80,000. Parents, you get that money now in your pocket. Okay. The other money that's left over for the kid, for the $8,000 out of the $14,000, for them for 13 years, they will have in their education savings account $104,000. They can go to any college, trade school that they want. Right now, you still haven't said anything. You keep going back to history. Don't, because I know we are right now for a reason, and we can have another discussion about how that happened, because I can lay some truth on you too, okay? But the problem is, here we are right now. What can we do to try to get the few kids we have educated in these inner cities educated and out of these failing schools? And you still haven't told us what that is.
Okay, I told you. I said break up the school district.
About everything else.
It's right there. Let me interject this real quick, Ted.
Hey, hold up. Viewers, I want y'all to go and Google up the Great White Flight, okay, of America from 1950 to 1960. Go look at that, and you'll understand exactly. You'll understand exactly how we got here. If you don't know how we got here, you really cannot figure out how to get out of here, because y'all walking into a freaking trap. And I'm gonna say something. And Unicorn, you said a minute ago. You said a minute ago. America's got 5 months. The Lord
but don't go down that rabbit hole, Ted. Let me say something.
No, brother, you said it, but now you said
please don't go down the rabbit hole, Ted. Ted, let me say something.
All this time to build these schools, and eventually black folks and poor people are going to hear about it, and they'll get involved. We only got 5 months, y'all.
Host of the show, I would like to say something.
Yes, sir.
You keep talking about breaking up the school systems and all that, and I always talk in metaphors. For anybody who's seen the movie Terminator 2, there was a robot. He was made of this polymorphic liquid. They tried to freeze him. They tried to chop him up. They tried to break him up. And as soon as he got his act back together, all those little pieces just kept coming back together again and kept on pursuing their enemy. Ted, let me finish. The public school system, as we know it, sir, is dead. And if we're going to salvage whatever is left of the minds of young black people, we have to eject, get the hell out of here, because anywhere is better than here, Ted. Really.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we are waving the white flag of surrender.
No,
the socialists have won. No matter how we fight them, no matter what, we can break them up into tiny little pieces, but they are gonna come back together and be stronger than ever. We have given up America. When you give up on the public school system because the socialists taking over, you've given up America. Mark my words. Yes, Ken. Come on, Ken. Keith, come on, Keith. Turn your mic on. Turn your mic on.
Dad, I just want to say this. You know, it's very interesting. Hopefully you'll understand this, because you talk about us not knowing our history. Now, I want to say this because in the Declaration of Independence, one of the grievances that Jefferson wrote out, listen to this, the 13th grievance. He said, "He, the king, has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws." Now, the district of the school district has done the same thing. They have subjected us to a jurisdiction that is foreign to our Constitution. What do I mean by that? Well, blacks, you talk about the Civil Rights Act. You talk about the 14th Amendment. Well, that's contrary to the 14th Amendment, what they are doing to blacks right now. So all we're doing is we are doing what you suggested. We are taking our authority back for our children, because we are not wards of the state. We are not property of the state. We are free souls under God. So we are leaving that status or system.
You're leaving me and my kids, man. Y'all going for y'all's American dream for your kids.
No, you can take your kids.
The majority of us are not gonna. The majority of us cannot escape it.
You gotta let me finish.
Go ahead, Ken. Go ahead, Keith. My apology. Go ahead.
Speak as your friend. You know this, that you got to listen. I'm saying that we are using the very principles that you talk about. We are leaving the district because of what I said.
The 13th, 14th, and 15th.
The 14th Amendment. We have a civil right to have our freedom, and as equal citizens of the United States, listen to what it says in Article 4, the citizens of each state shall be entitled to all privileges and immunities of the citizens in the several states. So we have, as citizens, we have the right to leave. And that's the reason I support this. 100%.
Like Rush Limbaugh used to say, because it's America, if you're a flaming racist communist, in America, you have the freedom of choice, the freedom of speech, and I will die for your freedom. I'm the same way. That is y'all's choice. Take it. Use it, go. But you're
May I make
leaving
one
the
more
rest of
statement?
us behind. And those
May
of
I
you
make
viewers
one
who are watching, those of you viewers who are watching, I want you to join with me. Go ahead and sign the petition if you want to do that. Feel free. I signed the petition too. But Mr. Hauser, let me ask you then, and all the
Ted, before
rest of
you
you
go
out
on,
there,
Ted, before you
when
go
you
on,
get the
Ted,
when you
let me
get the
finish this statement.
when you get your ballot initiative passed, will you come back and help me to rescue the rest of my people who are still in the mouth of the
Yes.
beast, sir? Would you do that?
I
Can
say with a full-throated answer, yes. The
Thank you,
California
Mr.
School Choice Foundation, when this passes, we are not going to cease to exist. When this passes, first of all, it'll have undoubtedly a lot of legal challenges that we're going to have to fight. But
Yes, for years.
our next mission will be to travel all around the state to places that need it and help to create schools. We will not only pass an initiative for school choice, we are going to get together with schools, with our churches and civic organizations, and we're going to show them how they can create schools. We are going to educate parents as to how they can create schools. Our goal is not just to pass an initiative. None of us is going to become rich or famous out of this. Our goal is to improve education for all California students. And we're going to help to create schools all over the place so that parents will have an actual choice. That is our goal. And I don't feel we're leaving anybody behind, because anybody can claim that $14,000 for their kid and hire a tutor. They can get together with 3 people and say, we've got $42,000. Let's hire a tutor for our 3 kids. And that'll be a better job than we'll pay all the money to them. The tutor will come to our house. I've tutored for a lot less than that. And this tutor will take our kids as far as they can go. When we need a new tutor, we'll hire a new tutor.
Hey, we got 4 minutes left. Hey, you know what? It's symbolic though. However, $14,000, 14th Amendment.
It
actually will go up. Each year it is recalibrated to the amount the state spends, so it will go up.
That is so ironic.
For the audience's sake.
I didn't even think of that.
Use that one. Yes, ma'am.
I need to make this clarification for the audience's sake.
Yes, ma'am.
You're saying we're leaving the schools in the hands of the socialists, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
When the parents take their children out and we return to a better capitalism, socialism always loses. So you don't have to worry about socialism thriving and flourishing here in America if we can righteously pursue what we want, education.
I like that word righteously.
Wait a minute.
That word righteously.
Okay, but right. So if we can do that, socialism is tyranny. It is oppression. Once we go to socialism, then the people rise up to fight for their freedoms back all over again. That cycle starts. So it's a misnomer. And it's inaccurate and quite frankly illogical to think that because we leave the socialists in their own schools that they're going to take over and prosper. No, they'll fail.
Okay, let me on this battle between the socialist capitalists in America. Show y'all something. Show you how you think you're winning. Let me show you something. Of the last of the presidents, 6 presidents since 1964 with Lyndon Johnson, when his whole socialist movement kicked off, 6 Democrats were president. Okay. And I'm sorry, there were four Democratic presidents, 6 presidential terms. With the Republicans, 6 presidents, 8 presidential administrations. And look at our country. We look like socialists. Okay, so the socialists are winning the fight, and y'all have fell into the trap. And we're going to close up here. Last word, one quick word. Go on, Ms. Ashley.
You said it right, and you kind of made our argument for us when you said choice and options. This school choice gives the choice and options that we need. Just one thing about Rick DeSantis in Florida, why he won, $600,000 Black women voted, Democratic women. 100,000 of those women broke away from the Democratic vote to vote for him because of school choice. So you're telling those women they're stupid, they're dumb, they don't know their history. You don't have a right to go to any kind of school.
Miss
No,
Ashley,
by your words, your mouth, you're telling them that you're too ignorant to make
words in my mouth.
yourself.
I did not
I'm giving
say
you an
that.
example.
You know better
So,
now.
in
You're
the
supposed to
future,
be
please do not insult, especially Black women, especially ones over 60 that grew up in that. But we don't take that kind of stuff. Okay, so we know our history.
Audience,
we lived it. Okay,
viewers, did y'all hear me say? Did y'all hear me say Black women stupid? Y'all didn't hear me say that now. Okay, so anyway,
stop while you're here, brother. Stop while you're here, brother. Stop.
The implication.
Stop while you're here.
Put that horn away, unicorn.
Now, Miss
Look,
Ashley
man.
got you. Miss Ashley got you, bro.
Okay, listen, we're gonna have the last word from Mr. Hauser. Give us a closing word, sir, and then I'm gonna shut it down.
Okay, my closing word is, first of all, just thank you so much for this opportunity to defend this cause that I feel so strongly about, and thank you so much to everybody, Kenny, Ms. Ashley, Anita, and Keith. You know, they're tremendous spokespeople for our cause. And, you know, I want to encourage people, study this issue for yourself. I appreciate Ted's passion, but I believe he is wrong. I do not think we are leaving anybody behind. You know, I'm not responsible for what happened in the 50s. I was only born at the very end of 1956. So what happened in the 50s and 60s, not my fault. So I'm trying to do the best to improve the educational system now with what we have, the situation we are facing. This is a national crisis for our country. When we do this in California, this will spread across the country. And so I want people to go to californiaschoolchoice.org, study this issue. Please help us get this initiative on the ballot, study it more, and then vote for it. Thanks so much. Thanks so much.
I am honored. I'm honored to have you on our broadcast. We all appreciate your leadership and what you are doing in this state and in this country. We salute you. We salute you and your wife. And I would like for you to come back in the near future and give us a report on a regular basis, if you don't mind, and so my viewers can know what's going on. You know, whether they agree with me or disagree is not the issue. It's information, it's education, and every American has the right to choose what they want to accept or believe in. I want to thank Miss Anita. Thank you so much for being here again tonight, Miss Anita. And Miss Ashley, thank you again. I'm really honored by the presence of you two Black women. I'm so proud of you and thank you. And Unicorn, thank you for being here with your sharp ass horn. And Chief, my co-host Keith, thank you again for being here. And we always bring in that word of wisdom for us. And ladies and gentlemen, tell everybody about your power weapon on urbansmartnetwork.com. We're gonna see y'all next Monday night, 7:00 p.m. West Coast time, 10 o'clock p.m. East Coast time. Good night, y'all. Blessings to you all. Shalom.